Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to explore the asset acquisition process through a purchase order in SAP S/4HANA using Fiori. Let's start by creating an asset. This is done either via the application called Manage Fixed Assets or via the application called AS01. I will show you the latter one, as the former one is only working in case certain configuration was done in your system. In the end, they work the same. So I will click on this one. And over here, I must choose at least an asset class. So by this asset class, this asset will be categorized and receive a number. Then I will choose the company code, and number of similar assets is just 1. Please be aware that we could also use this area here to copy from an existing asset. Now we click here on master data. We must insert at least a description. You can see here the account determination was derived automatically by the asset class, so all of this is fine. For now, we don't need to fill anything in the general data. We will go to the time dependent tab, and we must insert at least a cost center, which is then used later on for our depreciation posting. So this is fine. Despite that, we do not need to maintain anything more over here. We can click on save. Now you can see an asset was generated. We will copy this number. Next off, we will now post the asset acquisition through a purchase order. Therefore, we can use either the application called ME21N, this is the old one, or the new one called Manage Purchase Orders, this one over here. We will select this one. And now we are here in the detailed screen for the creation of a new purchase order. First of all, you can see the purchasing document type, which will amongst others decide about the number that is issued by the system once we save this purchase order, and is also used for managing our field status, so which fields here are optional and mandatory. We will start here by inserting our supplier, this one over here, and you can see now most of the information was derived from the supplier master, amongst others our currency, purchasing group, organization and company code. This is fine. We will now click here on items, and over here we can now provide a purchase order item. Via those 3 dots, click on create, and now we must fill here some mandatory information. So as we want to acquire an asset, this asset is not stored as a material master. This means that we now need to click on this arrow over here, and then we need to inform the system that we have an account assignment to an asset. Now we need to insert a material group. The quantity, let's say we want 1 piece. The net order value is, let's say, 10,000 euro. Then we have a short text, asset acquisition, our plant, and that's basically it. You can also see it's not mandatory to fill the material anymore. Now we can go through this list here. We have the delivery information. This is pulled from our supplier master. The same counts for the process control, delivery details, and so on. We will scroll down a bit more, and then we have here our account assignment. So we can click here on this arrow and scroll down a bit up until we can see the section for asset management. Here we will now insert the asset that we created before. So this one over here. Okay, this is fine. We can now click on apply. You can see here the distribution column is not filled. This is because we just have one account assignment, so the system knows that all of the costs will be distributed to exactly this one asset. If we click here on create, this would mean that we would insert another line. And now you can see the distribution column is ready for input, because in the end, of course, we could assign the costs to multiple assets, for instance. But then we must tell the system which portion of our total cost of the purchase order is distributed to which asset. For now we have just one, so I will delete this line here again, and that's basically it. Now I will click on apply, and I will click on order. Now the purchase order was created. We will copy this number, and we will go to the application called goods received for purchasing document. Select this one. Now we will insert our purchasing document number, this one over here, and hit on enter. You can see a section opened. We have our general information where we will just provide a delivery note. Then we have the document and posting date. For now we will leave it as is. Of course, in a real life example, you would insert over here the date written on the delivery note we received and the posting date where the financial data is posted. Now over here we have our item section with our asset acquisition. We will mark it as such, so one is also delivered. And then we can click here on post. You can see the material document was created. We can click on this one and we are forwarded to the material document overview screen where we can see an overview. And from here we can click on related apps display document flow material document, where we can see here we have our purchase order and then the goods received. Please be aware that as of now, there was no GL document flow involved. Next off, we will now post the invoice. So we imagine that we received the invoice from our supplier for the asset that we purchased, and now we will post it in the system. This is done via the application called Create Supplier Invoice. This one over here. We are forwarded to the new application here. Our transaction type is invoice. Then we have the invoicing date. Let's say it's the same as the posting date. Normally, of course, this would be the date written on the invoice you received. Then we will insert here reference, and we will insert here our invoicing party, which is our business partner. For now, we will scroll down a bit to the purchasing documents reference section, and over here we will insert our purchase order. And that's it. Now the information was loaded. We can see there's a balance of 11,900, which is nothing else than our purchase order amount plus our taxes, which we can see over here. They were calculated automatically by the system. 19% input tax. So far so good. We will now scroll up again. And over here, for the gross invoice amount, we will insert 11,900 and hit on check. We can see the invoice was checked successfully, so we can click here on simulate. And over here we can see the system would post a debit to the technical clearing account for integrated asset acquisition and the input tax, and on the other hand credit to our vendor. Now we will click here on post, and we can see the supplier invoice was posted. Do we want to create a new supplier invoice? No. Now the last step is to see the asset again. So we go to AS03, display assets, we hit on this one. Now we insert our asset, this one over here. This is fine, and we can now click here on asset values. And you can see with the posting of our invoice, values were posted to our asset. So please be aware that during our purchase order and goods received, this asset master here will still have a value of 0. But when the invoice is posted, then the value is transferred to the asset. So the 10,000 you can see here under acquisition value. And this 10,000 is then also considered for the ordinary depreciation. Now we can also scroll down over here, and there you can see the transactions, in this case the asset value date with the 9th of November and the posted amount, and also very important, the transaction type. So if we inspect this one over here, we can see that 100 is an external asset acquisition. And this is exactly what we have done because we acquired the asset through our purchasing. This marks the end of the video. I hope you liked it. If so, then please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. Also make sure to subscribe to my Patreon, where we have a community chat and where I post lots of informative documents about SAP. The link is in the bio of my channel. Thanks a lot and see you next time.